1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All mine.
One of resistance,
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
rebellion,
Rebellion is built on hope.
and redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. We are so glad you are back and joining us this week. We are going to have a great time. We are going back to one of our classic series this week, and it's going to be just a blast to dip our toes back into the 80s. So let's get the introductions out of the way and have some fun. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me, he is he's just an incredible guy. He's my co-host, the man with the most, the David Motters. David, brother, what's up?
Well, hey, we're back. We're doing a vintage reactions, and I'm ready to react. And I thought, in your comparison, you've done Chewbacca to Han. There's a character in these Ewok episodes called a flog, right? Phlog. And I thought you were going to say, he is my flog to my Ewok, or something like that. And but you didn't, so thank you, because I really honestly don't want to be compared to a flog.
Well, especially after the episode we're going to talk about tonight. So that would just be a little weird, my friend.
But I'm ready to react, and it's good to be back on with you, buddy.
It's good to be back, man. It's always fun to sit down and talk Star Wars with you and just have a great time. I mean, for the record, we've been chatting for the last 40 minutes before we started recording. So that's how much we just been shooting the breeze, because we don't get to sit down, and because of our daily lives, we don't get to do this nearly enough, my friend.
No, it was so fun to just catch up on everything, not just Star Wars and Disney and so on, but movies and family and all that kind of stuff, and wives, and we do have busy lives, but they're good. They're wonderful lives, and we're fortunate to have some time to be able to talk Star Wars too.
Absolutely. It is going to be a great show, because we are, like I said, dipping back into our roots to one of our original series here as we bring back our vintage reactions and talk about the Ewoks episode. This is a 12th episode, right?
Yeah,
12th episode of the Ewoks, the first season, entitled Blue Harvest. This was written by Paul Dini and Sam Wilson. No, not the Falcon Sam Wilson. This is a different Sam Wilson. But directed by Raymond Jaffalis. I've missed saying that name.
I think he's directed virtually every episode. There might have been one that he hasn't directed, but yeah, he's the guy.
He is. And he's just so much fun to say, Jaffalis. And for the record, this episode was released November 23rd of 1985.
Why?
1985. I was 5.
I was in my junior year of high school, dude. 10 years older than you. Well, wait, is that right? You're 5? Yeah,
I was 5.
I was. Yeah, I was kind of starting. Yep, and then 15, 16. Yeah, right on there. 85, 86. Yeah, 85, 86.
To be exact, I was 5 years and 11 months.
Okay, yeah, so close to 6. Yeah,
I was very close to 6. This would, matter of fact, this would have been 3 weeks before my birthday in 1985. It was 1980 something in the year. Anyway, but anywho, let's get back on task here and talk about Blue Harvest, episode 12 of the Ewoks. This episode, of course, tells the story of the Ewoks as they have gathered their annual harvest. They are dealing with plots from the Dulocs, who are wanting to steal their crops because they kind of forgot to plant their own.
Mm-hmm.
So, fun episode. So let's jump into this. We'll go ahead and kick off with our initial reactions. So for those of you that are new to Star Wars reactions and you have not experienced yet one of our vintage reactions episodes, what is so unique about these episodes is because I know other people have probably covered these shows before in a more in-depth and interesting way, but we try to have much fun with it as we can, because honestly, this is our first time. I've never seen these series before. So this is when I sit down and I watch this literally for the first time. This is literally the first time I have watched these series. I never watched them as a kid, nothing like that. Being that I grew up overseas, it wasn't something that was on the TV down there. So I never experienced the 80s glory of the Ewoks or even the droid series either. So this is new for me, very much, because I am watching these for the very first time, which is quite interesting. So, initial thought reactions for me was this was fun. This had the class. I watched this and I kept going back to the old song "Love Potion Number 9." It was just a fun episode. Wicket playing hero again. With the flog, dealing with the craziness of the Dulocs, who are just insane as always, and seeing. Yes, Siri, I don't know how to respond to that either. So let's silence my watch there. Sorry, if you could see me record, I'll have to turn on a camera and just record me recording one night, because I use my hands a lot. So nobody's here to see me, but I use my hands a ton when I talk like this. So I wave my hands around, it wakes up my watch, and my watch thinks I'm talking to it. Sorry about that. Carabast. Anyhow.
There's a Carabast.
There it is, folks. Right then and there. Carabast moment number 1. Completely lost my train of thought. Love Potion number 9. That's right. So what I liked so much about this episode was just the pure 80s of this episode. This was just pure 100% 80s cartoon. Of course, the traditional 80s animation, gorgeous as always. Always had the lesson to be learned there, which was great. But the storytelling of the kids doing their job, getting a little lazy, getting tricked, and losing something, then trying to make up for it is just pure straight 80s fun. And we see that a lot in 80s television. And this episode is no joke, or not no joke, is no different. Carabas. I can't get my words out tonight, my friend. But it's just so much fun with the flog, and of course the Vorshak, which looks like just a giant fluffy dog that's the size of a tree. It's just a great fun, lots of fun, and some great laughing, some great entertainment in it too. So, how about you, my friend? What is your initial reaction to Blue Harvest?
Well, like you had mentioned at the start, and you and I've mentioned this before when we've covered previous episodes of Ewoks in our vintage reaction series here. I'm the same as you. Like, I was here. You were overseas. I was growing up in Michigan, but I was in high school and didn't watch these. So I'm the same as you. Aaron and I are both watching these for the first time. It is fun to go back and watch some of this stuff that came out that we hadn't seen yet. That's Star Wars content, and the reason why I wasn't watching it at the time was just because I'd gotten to an age where Return of the Jedi was 2 years prior in '83, and I'm in high school now, and interests change, but I think this was big for young kids. For me, it was watching Super Friends and other animated shows when I was a kid, and then these came along as I was a high schooler. You're not really doing Saturday morning cartoons anymore. You're busy playing basketball with all my buddies as much as we could. But yes, like Aaron, I'm watching it for the first time. Aaron and I've mentioned it multiple times that this is literally vintage 80s kinds of stuff in terms of very simple messages. As you were describing your initial reactions, Aaron, I was thinking about Sesame Street and how, it's this whole thing of trying to be fun and entertaining and teach kids something. And that's what this one, every episode we've talked about is some of these lessons and things to learn in a fun way. And I just enjoyed it. And I like a lot of some of the humor and, like you said, some of the creatures and all that kind of stuff. The Dulocs are good baddies, bad guys and stuff. And Paul Dini has such a good time with them as well. So every time, of course, I see Paul Dini, I think of Batman the Animated Series. And so always good to see him on there writing. But this was fun like the rest of them. And like we said, a good learning messages for the kids.
Absolutely, it is. And so let's go ahead and jump into our discussion here and some talking points real quick about Blue Harvest, because it's a lot of fun. It opens up with, of course, the Wicket and his friend bringing in this big box or big cart of what appear to be pumpkins in. And of course, we see a clip where we see Malini. Was it Malini? What was her name? Malini? Milani.
The girl, yep.
Yeah, Milani come up, and she's brought Wicket drinks and snacks because they look tired. And of course, you could tell she's crushing all over Wicket. And of course, in typical young kid reaction, Wicket's kind of like, ugh. Gross. But it ends up playing a huge part of the story in it, because as the story progresses, we find out that there is two potions that oh my gosh, I just forgot the Ewok's name. Logray.
Master, yep.
Master Logray he has the two potions. One is a red potion that turns people angry and evil and hatred, full of rage. And the other is a blue potion, which makes people feel good and feel loving and get along with everybody. Wicked even refers to it as a love potion. So he has both of these, and it comes in handy because there at the beginning, this is where we see the Vorshak for the first time, which is the big furry extra large dog with beaver teeth.
Yep.
And apparently it was released on the Ewok village, we come to find out, by the Dulocs, who are using it as a distraction to get in and steal the harvest.
Yeah.
And so they go in. The Vorshak is chowing down on the tree. They get the potion, dump it on a net. They throw it down there. And of course, it turns the mean old Vorshak into just a bubbly puppy of a playful animal dancing in the tulips and everything. Which was interesting to see. But it also put a damper in the Dulocs plans because they weren't able to steal all the food they wanted first. So from there, of course, we get the Dulocs overhear the story of the potions. So they hatch a new plan. I want to talk. Let's talk about the beginning here with the Vorshak, because, you know, we like talking about creatures on this show, dude. We always have enjoyed talking about creatures, even back before Star Wars Reaction was birthed. When we did Resistance, we talked. That was your thing, dude. You had your creature corner.
Yeah.
And so it would fit right in there, where we would count what creatures we saw in the episodes and stuff. And one thing that's been fun about the Ewoks is seeing the amount of creatures that we get to see in this series that we never knew existed before. So what were your thoughts about how the episode opened and the introduction of the whole storyline with the Vorshak there at the beginning?
Yeah, I love your description of the Vorshak with the beaver teeth. Totally. I mean, it's like a dog with these massive two front teeth, and it did. It took me back to the creature corner from our coverage of Star Wars Resistance. It was amazing how many different creatures they created for that show, and I think I totaled them up by the end of season 1 and season 2. It was a staggering amount, and I like this little guy, and it got me thinking about some of the the trailer that we all saw for Skeleton Crew, and there is a creature in there who we see backlit and looks like a werewolf, right? And it's shooting its blasters, and now I've blocked on the name of the creature. I did, of course it was a werewolf, and I remember hearing something about how George Lucas, he pulled that out in the special edition, right? He didn't want stuff that looked like it had been done before, and I like that. That's cool, because George Lucas is like, let's make new and creative kinds of things, but it's not always easy. And so I think about pulling it back here to Ewoks. They've come up with a lot of different creatures in the Forest of Endor. And so I've just had fun with seeing all these different ones. There's been quite a few, but yeah, I like the Vorshak. He's a good little character.
He really is. He's a fun character. It's very enjoyable. But he's only a small part of the story, because after this opening scene, we don't see him anymore. He's off tiptoeing in the tulips, having a good old time, falling in love with whatever he sees. Thanks to the blue potion. But unfortunately, the Dulocs, like I said, overheard what happened. So they sneak into the village in disguise and steal a potion, thinking it's the blue potion, but thinking it's the red potion, because they want the red hatred potion to give a flog, so the flog can come in and distract the Ewoks by destroying the village. And so they can steal all the food, so they can have something to eat in the wintertime. But unfortunately, they stole the wrong one, and they don't realize it till the potion is deployed on a flog. And the flog immediately falls in love with the Duloc. And the Duloc's not happy and is running an escape. And while it's escaping, the Wicket shows up, and the flog sees Wicket and falls in love with Wickey.
I love it. Yes, Wickey.
Wickey. It was that time when she called him Wickey for the first time, dude, I about died.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just fun humor.
It's just great humor.
Yeah.
And so it worked out. And so she picks up Wicket, and she's hugging on him and patting his head. And I don't know. It could just be me, but seeing that happen took me back to Looney Tunes, to the Abominable Snowman and Bugs Bunny. I will love him and keep him and call him George.
Yeah. It's just a fun trope that they've used,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this, of course, mistake does end up working in the Duloc's favor, because they do and the Flog and Wicket do end up back at the village, where the Flog is searching for Wicket after he escaped and is looking for her Wiki. She's looking for her Wiki. She wants her Wicket, which gives the Dulocs the distraction they need, not only to get the food they want, but to take over the village.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. So they take everybody in the village captive and lock them in a hut. While they're enjoying the food and celebrating, the head Duloc suggests to the Flog, "Hey, why don't you take your new love back to your desert home?" So Flog carries Wicket off into the sunset. And this is where it gets interesting, because we have Wicket trying to snap the Flog out of the spell, which Logray told him the only way to snap them out without letting it just wear off is to shock them out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And how does Wicket shock the Flog?
What did he kiss the Flog on the cheek?
It was with love's first kiss. He kissed that Flog on the nose multiple times. Next thing you know, you see all the colors flowing through the eyes of the Flog as it snaps back to reality, and it looks at Wicket and goes, "Ewok?" And is trying to figure out what has just happened. And that's when, of course, Wicket hatches a plan with the Flog to get even with the Dulocs, who are now celebrating in the village that they have taken over everything and that they are getting all their food, and they're eating the harvest festival food that the Ewoks had set up, and have got everything packed up and ready to go with the rest of the food. And Wicket and the Flog arrive. And of course, we never said the Flog's name, did we?
It's Hoona, right?
Hoona
Yeah.
the Flog.
Yeah.
And Wicky.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to get out my bowl of cereal, like I was Saturday going back in time, just laughing, having fun, all the silliness, and just have the sugary bowl of cereal on a Saturday morning. Oh yeah, I was ready.
Oh no. It really made you want to, honestly, it really made me want to, watching this really wanted me, Carabas. Holy smokes. It's because I'm talking too much at work. I can't talk at night. That's my issue. Anyhow, it made me really want to just like stretch out on the floor with a blanket and a bowl of cereal, or even some like Eggo waffles.
Oh yeah, that too.
And just watch it on the TV.
Oh yeah.
And just sit there and enjoy it. Maybe go find some underoos or something.
That's it. It's a big part of it, going back in time and Star Wars memories and being younger. But it's funny. And, one of my talking points that again, you and I went a little bit, behind the scenes in a previous episode about, putting our show notes together, because it helps you and me and it helps it flow, is kind of, the problem solving, that they show, like, because what you and I mentioned, when there's always lessons to learn, in this one, it's problem solving that's done individually that Wicket does. You just described it, but then also what they do as a community, right? Not just in this episode, but in almost, all the episodes of Ewoks. But, and that's, and I'll jump into a small psychology factoid / corner. I was reading a book recently where it says life will present you with an endless supply of problems. Mm-hmm. And I really like that, because then it's just, I've tried to help my clients for years and years and years get their head around this. Of course, trying to teach my kids, and here's a show trying to say the same thing, that look, people dealt with this before you were born, and people are going to deal with problems after all of us, Aaron and I are gone, everybody listening to this, it's just the way it is on this planet, an endless supply of problems. And so what do? Problem solve and maintenance, and I've mentioned that in previous psychology corners and stuff and psychology factoids. But here it is, Wicket doing it individually and then doing it as a community at the end to defeat the Dulocs, right?
Movies. Everything you see and hear was done on purpose. Everything has meaning. Join Corey Heitschmidt, Justin Eldon, and me, Craig Dickinson, for Reading Between the Reels. Each episode will break down the movies you love and analyze cinematography, sound, performance, and set design to uncover the significance of the filmmaker's choices. Reading Between the Reels, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
There's so much learning in these episodes, and they make it so much fun to learn in these things. So, you brought in your saying, and I keep going back to the saying, especially in something like this. The Forces of Destiny had the best saying at the opening of every episode, talking about choices. The choices we make, the actions we take, the moments, big and small, shape us into forces of destiny. Mm-hmm. And the choices definitely are huge in this, because Wicket's having to make his choices to save his village, and he's having to problem solving because he knows if he just tries to escape Hoona, that she's going to be mad and she's going to tear the village up looking for Wickey. So Milani gets upset, calls him a two-timer.
That was hilarious. I just so it's
like fun. I don't have a choice. Sure you don't, you two-timer. She throws food at him and walks away. I mean, that was just priceless. I'm sorry. And of course we end up back at the village with Wicket and Hoona coming back from the desert with Hoona snapped out of the spell, but of course they pretend like the spell is still intact, and then they do the exact same things to the Dulocs that the Dulocs did to the Ewoks. They deploy Hoona as a distraction, having her do the flog dance of love, as he called it, around the thing to, and of course distracting all of the Dulocs, so the Ewoks could escape their prison hut and of course take the village back. And of course then at that point the Dulocs make their escape, the Ewoks celebrate, and we all live happily ever after. So tell me, what did you think? We talked about, got your opinion on the first half. What do you think about the second half of the story with Hoona and Wicket working together now that the spell is broken to save the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's classic, right? It's turning the tide, on the bad guys. And, in a movie, it's, what is it? It's always darkest before the dawn. I was thinking back even to some of the stuff in Rise of Skywalker, and Palpatine is shooting an unbelievable amount of lightning in the air, bringing ships down. Mm-hmm. And then, and then the tide turns and the heroes are able to triumph. And here it is, just on a much simpler level, a much quicker time frame. And so it's just cute. It's fun. And if you're a kid, you just have to put yourself in that kind of position as well. Like Hoona and Wickey. Like, I'm an adult and I'm getting a kick out of Wicket being called Wickey. That's maybe one of my favorite parts of the whole episode, along with Blue Harvest, the name. Aaron and I, that was part of what we were talking about before we jumped on. Just so you know, we did not miss the significance of Blue Harvest, and it was the working name in 1982 when they were producing Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know that it threw anybody off, but Watch the documentaries of everyone going out to Yuma, Arizona, and they know it's Star Wars being filmed out there. It says Blue Harvest. They're like, but there's Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Lando and Han and Chewbacca out there.
C-3PO.
C-3PO's out there. Yeah, that's Jabba's ship, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Pretty sure that's the Falcon over there.
Right, exactly. But yes, don't think that Aaron and I didn't get the Blue Harvest reference. But no, it was just really good, and I like the ending, and again, problem solving, right, to defeat the guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about the problem solving and teaching kids to do what's right and figure things out. That's one of the things I always try to we're working on with my youngest is solve your problem.
Mm-hmm.
You not everybody's going to be there to solve your problems for you. Sometimes you have to solve it. So problem solve, kid, problem solve.
Right.
So I need her to sit down and watch this one with me tomorrow. So help her out. But it was a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. Anything else you want to talk about from this episode before we go into final reactions?
No. I think it just, I'll just say this. I think it snuck up on me when you texted me or something. You said, this is the 12th episode. I'm like, wait, there's 13 in season 1, 13 in season 2. And I'm like, wow. We got one more to wrap up season 1, 13th episode. And, but it's been fun. And I really had fun with this episode. And it does take me back to the 80s. I was alive then, and I can remember the 80s. Oh, boy. But
I remember the late 80s.
The late 80s, yes. Yeah.
I remember the mid 80s, too. I do. Because I had some great toys then.
Yeah.
I had the best toy, and thing is, at that point, I hadn't seen any of the Star Wars, so none of them were Star Wars toys. They were all Super Friends and the Mask and Thundercats and GI Joe. I had tons of GI Joe, but I mean, that was probably the best decade for toys ever.
A lot of Transformers.
Yes. I still have my 80s Optimus Prime.
Nice.
The OG Optimus.
Nice.
So,
it was a great time to watch cartoons. It was a great time to play with toys. Great time to have a sugary bowl of cereal and work towards diabetes. The beets.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. What's that guy's name? Does the commercials?
Is it?
I could see him, the elderly guy.
Was he in one of the Ewok specials back in the day?
I think so, yeah.
Wilford Brimley?
Yes, Wilford Brimley.
Got it. I had to pull that off the tip of my tongue.
Oh my gosh, yes. I can see it. Because all I see him now is in those diabetes commercials. Oh my gosh. Yes, Wilford Brimley. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
There's our deep dive for the week.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, people. We're off on tangents. Hey, that's what happens here sometimes.
It does.
We'll bring it back. So
always do.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. I don't know. Did you have anything else to say?
No, I didn't. I just nothing else I really wanted to hit on. It was a fun episode. I'm really having a fun time covering this episode. I really hate it took us so long to get back into vintage reactions, but we've had so much other shows going on that we've had to cover. So hopefully we can get back into doing a couple more of these before Skeleton Crew. Yes. Skeleton. Dude, did you see the meme that's going around going around online about Skeleton Crew?
Yes, that Craig Dickinson put out.
Yeah, he posted it, but I've seen it several other places too. The skeleton, the original cast of Skeleton Crew, and it's Owen and Baru.
Yes.
Dude, that's just like, is it too early? Question mark. I'm like, nah.
Yeah. We all responded on CWK Cafe. Yeah, and then we're like, dude, and like, wow. And then I think Jen Winslow, she posted, what it was it? She goes, well, finally, we got the figures, and it's the Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru as skeletons burned on the farm there. It's like,
Yes.
oh, just
Yes.
brutal. Oh, gosh.
It's
What
the
fun.
little things in life that entertain us.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
All right. Well, final reactions for Blue Harvest. I think Return of the Jedi was the greatest. Wait, sorry, wrong Blue Harvest. I think this episode of the Ewoks was fantastic. A lot of fun, great lessons. I will probably never look at Wicket and call him Wicket again. It will always be Wiki from now on.
Yeah.
Because it just rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. Wiki. Wiki.
Yeah.
But it's great. Again, seeing the Dulocks come in with their crazy plan and it succeed and fail at the same time. And of course, Wicket and his friends saving the day. In this case, the friend is a 10-foot tall flog. And literally holds Wicket in the palm of its hand. He could probably barely, and of course, Wicket barely sticking out of the hand. It's crazy. But it's just a great episode. Lots of fun. Definitely a great journey back in the 80s. And what's fun about these two, and I want to say this, then I'll turn it over to you for your final thoughts, is what I love about these is there's just enough depth to teach you a lesson, but the rest of it is just pure fun and pure 80s. I want to say almost 80s nonsense. And it works perfectly. And it's something that you can very easy. What I like about these is that it's very easy just to sit back, turn my mind off, and enjoy.
Yeah.
And I like that about this Ewok series. So how about you, my friend? What is your final thoughts for Blue Harvest?
Oh, very similar to yours. Just a lot of fun. Really fun to go back in time to the mid 80s. Got a kick out of Wiki, that name. That just, it's so fun. And it's kind of the, you do that to your friends. You come up with a silly nickname just to tease them. And so I could see Tebow and Weechie and some of the other characters teasing him and calling him Wiki and stuff. So that was good. So some fun humor. And then, like we said before, always a lesson. And then I do really like the focus on problem solving here. And hopefully young kids got it at that time. So really good overall episode.
Very good. Very good. Well, of course, we would love to hear from you and hear what you think of the Ewok series, or in particular Blue Harvest, or the series as a whole. Let us know what you think. You can hit us up on any of our social media. We are on Facebook and X at SW Reactions Pod. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Tumblr, and YouTube, all at SW Reactions. You can email us, swreactions@gmail.com, or of course, leave us a voicemail. You can leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Star Wars Reactions. There we go. So, of course, David, if somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, sir, how would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. Twitter X, my handle is at David_Modders, MODDERS. Instagram, just my name, David Modders. And then, of course, I've been saying this here for quite a while now. If you send it to any of our socials, Star Wars Reaction socials, Aaron's got them, and he does. He passes them on to me, and it's nice to get those from different people. So there you go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, for me, you can always get to me through any of the show socials, or of course, you can always hit me up on my Twitter X, as David likes to call it, at TA Harris 121079. Before we close everything out, I do just want to give a quick shout out because I messaged David 2 weeks ago and told him we had hit the 300 follower mark on TikTok, which is the newest platform we've gotten on this year. And we'd hit 300 followers there. And two of our followers I want to give a special shout out to, which is Mark Chorizo and Star Wars Dad really jumped on the bandwagon of promoting our TikTok for us and pushed us out, put out a special video and everything. And in the 2 weeks since they've done that, we've grown like over 28% there. So if you're new to the show, welcome. And thank you, Mark, and thank you, Star Wars Dad. We appreciate y'all. If y'all don't know, if you've taken any kind of marketing class, you know it doesn't matter what you do advertising-wise, the best advertisement is word of mouth. So if you enjoy Star Wars reactions, tell your friends. Tell your friends, share the episodes, share some of the posts, help spread the word about the show that you enjoy, because we would love to see y'all enjoy it as much as we do. So, and the more we get, the more more listeners that listen, the more opportunities that open up for us. So, which means the more opportunities open up for y'all. So, we'll see what happens. So, but thank you, Mark. Thank you, Star Wars Dad. Y'all are the best. Well, David, are you ready?
I thought you said that's a wrap. We'll close the show.
Oh, come on.
I know. Yeah, you always have fun doing it when I'm not around and saying, well, Dave's not here to enjoy it. And so now I'm here to enjoy the Star Wars Dad joke of the week. So I am ready, I think.
Well, I hope you are, because I got one for you this week. It's time for this week's Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week. What kind of books do stormtroopers read in their spare time?
What kind of books do stormtroopers read in their spare time? I don't know.
Troubleshooting guides.
Oh, my God. That is... Oh, my God. Oh,
troubleshooting guides. Have mercy.
That's good. That's actually good. That's good. But still a dad joke, yes.
Absolutely. That it is. Well, buddy, this has been a blast as always, my friend.
Absolutely. Great to be on with you.
It's great to be on with you. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We love y'all. We're praying for you. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, do something kind for somebody this week. Reach out. Just do one kind act for somebody and just see how much it will change not only their perspective, but yours as well. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.